Have you ever sat down to do something important, opened your laptop, and told yourself, I'll just check my phone for 1 minute. 1 minute turns into 10. Then you're replying to a message, watching a short video, checking the news, looking up something completely unrelated. And before you know it, an hour has disappeared. It feels like your attention span is broken, like you've somehow become lazy. But what if your brain isn't the problem? What if it's doing exactly what it evolved to do? The real reason you can't focus anymore isn't because you're weak, unmotivated, or lacking willpower. It's because your ancient brain is trying to survive in a world it was never designed for. And once you understand why, everything starts to make sense. For almost all of human history, your ancestors didn't have smartphones, emails, or social media. But they did have predators. Imagine walking through a forest 50,000 years ago. You hear leaves rustling behind you. Do you ignore it and keep walking? Or do you immediately look? The people who noticed every strange sound, every sudden movement, and every unexpected change were more likely to survive. Their brains were rewarded for constantly scanning their surroundings. That instinct didn't disappear. You inherited it. Your brain is naturally drawn toward anything that's new, surprising, or uncertain. Because for most of human history, paying attention to something unexpected could mean the difference between life and death. Today, the danger isn't hiding behind a bush. It's hiding inside your pocket. Every vibration, every notification, every flashing icon, every new headline. Your brain reacts because it has evolved to notice change, not because you're weak, but evolution is only part of the story. The modern world has learned how to use this instinct against you. Think about what happens when you refresh your social media feed. You don't know what you'll see next. Maybe it's something boring. Maybe it's a funny video. Maybe someone liked your post. Maybe there's breaking news. Maybe nothing at all. That uncertainty is incredibly powerful. Scientists call this a variable reward system. Instead of receiving a predictable reward every time, you receive one only occasionally. And your brain keeps checking because the next reward might be just one refresh away. This same principle is used in slot machines. You don't keep pulling the lever because every spin wins. You keep pulling because the next one might. Many digital platforms work in a surprisingly similar way. Every swipe, every refresh, every notification, your brain begins expecting the possibility of something rewarding. Not every time, just often enough to keep looking. But even if you resist checking your phone, another problem quietly steals your attention: multitasking, or at least what we think is multitasking. Most people believe they're doing several things at once: listening to music, answering messages, watching a lecture, checking emails, working on a report. But your brain isn't truly doing all of these simultaneously. Instead, it's switching between them incredibly quickly, and every switch comes with a cost. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman spent decades studying how attention works, showing that your mental resources are limited. When multiple tasks compete for those resources, performance suffers. Attention researcher Gloria Mark found that after an interruption, people often need much longer than expected to fully regain deep focus, especially if they're interrupted again before settling back into the task. Imagine trying to read a book while someone taps you on the shoulder every few minutes. Eventually, you stop reading deeply. You start reading just enough to get by. Now imagine those taps happening all day long. That's what modern life often feels like. Notifications, emails, group chats, breaking news, advertisements, pop-ups, calendar reminders, smartwatch vibrations. Even when you ignore them, your brain has already noticed them. Each interruption seems tiny, but together, they fragment your attention into hundreds of little pieces. And there's one more reason focusing feels harder today. Your brain has become used to constant stimulation. Waiting in line? Phone. Eating alone? Phone. 5 minutes before a meeting? Phone. Bored for 10 seconds? Phone. We've become so uncomfortable with silence that we instinctively fill every empty moment. But boredom isn't useless. It's during quiet moments that your brain reflects, connects ideas, and strengthens memories. When every spare second is filled with new information, your mind never gets that chance. It's like trying to write on a whiteboard that's constantly being erased before the ink has time to dry. The surprising part is that your attention hasn't disappeared. It's been trained. And the good news is that what can be trained one way can also be trained back. You don't need to throw away your phone or move into the woods. Small changes can make a real difference. Turn off notifications that aren't truly important. Keep your phone out of sight when you're working. Studies have shown that even the visible presence of a smartphone can make it harder to concentrate. Focus on one task at a time. Instead of constantly switching, work in short, uninterrupted blocks. Then take a break. Protect your sleep, because attention, memory, and decision-making all depend on a well-rested brain. And perhaps most importantly, allow yourself to be bored once in a while. Go for a walk without headphones. Sit quietly for a few minutes. Let your mind wander. It may feel uncomfortable at first. That's a sign your brain is readjusting. The world around you has become louder, faster, and more demanding than at any other point in human history. Your brain didn't evolve for endless notifications, infinite scrolling, or information arriving every second. Yet somehow, it keeps trying its best to keep up. So maybe you haven't lost your ability to focus. Maybe you've simply trained your brain to believe that everything deserves your attention. The best part? You can teach it otherwise. If you watched until the end, that means you enjoyed this video. If you found it interesting, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments, what's the biggest thing that distracts you when you're trying to focus? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.